Are you seeing this? I'll give you something new. Bliss 4 Premium Condoms is the only brand that comes with 4 pieces in a pack. Because we know she'll be begging for more. So why stop at 3? This guy is made by the biggest maker of condoms in the world. And he knows exactly what you need. With an amazing quality that you can trust and feel, Bliss wants what's best for you. And for that much-awaited sexy time. Don't panic if you won't have enough. We make sure you're always wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you do it on the bed. Bang in the car. Or be sneaky in the shower. Be confident you're this protected. Those first 3 words, ignite it with 4.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't settle for 3. Bliss 4 Premium Condoms.
Why go invisible when you can glow? Premier Condoms.
Hi, good evening.
Hi!
Hola.
Good evening po.
We're live!
Live. Hi again, guys. Good evening.
Saan yung jowa ko? Pero sige, let's go. Good evening, guys.
Happy Friday, guys!
Happy Friday! Oh, God.
Gusto ko yung nagkakapaan tayong lahat. Tapos nagalit si Direk kasi wala tayong energy.
Energy!
Hello mga bakla!
Hello, mga bakla. Kamusta na?
Yan.
Yan.
Ito na po ang mga katambalan yung tuwing Friday night. Ang Kinks and
Yes,
Kweens.
Kinks and Kweens. Hi, to Janlee. Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Welcome.
Ate Janlee.
We missed you!
Miss ko rin
Bago
kayo.
daw mag-start.
Kaya maghahasik tayo ng lagim ngayong gabi.
Namiss ka ng lahat. Namiss ka ng mga viewers natin. Kami hindi.
Hindi naman kami fresh.
Sa mga
Bakit ka daw
nakamiss
wala
sa
last
akin,
week?
sa mga nakamiss sa akin, wala pa po akong date ngayong Valentine month. Kaya pwede pa po kayong humabol.
Talaga, kahit nakita kita ng isang araw sa Anes.
Sumakit ang tagiliran.
Ay, may isa dito sa mga tatagiliran. Alam mo ko yun.
Lahat ko si Ate Janlee lang hihimas ng tagaliran niya.
Oo. Press 1.
And
Press
remember,
one
she supports small businesses. Charing.
Oy! Grabe si manager!
Alam mo, grabe si
Ay,
Dalton.
no.
One daw talaga. Alam mo, may ano yan, may hugot yan. Alam mo na dami.
Actually, yung mga tao din sa Facebook, sinasabi ang fresh ni Janlee. Wala na silang sinabi. Kung
si Janlee
yung
lang.
artist,
Alam
si
mo,
Ate Janlee lang. Ganon.
alam mo,
Wala-
hindi ko rin alam kung kung ma-offend ba ako or ano. Puro si Janlee na lang.
Huwag kang ma-offend dahil may jowa ka naman.
Medyo doon tayo lumamang, Mars.
Doon tayo lumamang ng very light, no?
May regular na humihimas ng tagiliran natin.
Oo. Ha? Ano sabi mo?
Paano ako affected ako si Janlee maganda paano pa ako?
Okay lang, mabenta ka naman.
Mabenta ka naman, di ba? Ay, by the way,
Ay,
nga
by the
pala.
way.
Siya talaga
Anong-
Please say, kung gusto niyo, kung may gusto kayo, kung may gimmick kami mamaya, it will involve someone with the letter R. Starting with the letter R and ends with Roberto.
Teka lang. Oh, let's start.
Pakimute naman si Alexander. Yan, salamat.
me DJ.
Well, party.
Wait lang.
Yan.
Ayan.
Perfect.
May pa-stopwatch tayo, di ba?
Oy, bago tayo magsimula, introduce naman natin isa't isa. Simula tayo sa pinaka-upper left. Introduce yourself, Miss Upper Left.
Sino nasa upper left? Wait lang. Nakaiba ko ng view kasi.
Andyan
Hindi
yung
ko
view na.
naka-mirror. Ikaw. Ikaw na. Sinasabi namin ikaw na.
Ikaw.
Hello,
Yan.
guys.
Yan po si Paris.
Paris here.
Top
Hello,
center.
guys.
Top center.
Ay, oo nga. Wait lang.
Good morning. My name is Bill.
Yan.
Parang networking yung good morning.
Ay, kasi dapat daw you always... wait lang, dapat kasi you always greet people daw with a good morning kasi to start.
Sa natutunan yan.
Sa business. Hindi kasi
Alright. Pansinin naman natin si Chal. Yan.
Hello mga bakla.
Yan po si Chal.
Girl.
Yun lang.
Right below Chal, ang nasa bottom ni Chal.
Yung power bottom red. Bakit nagkapalit yung pangalan natin, Roberto? Ako yung Miguel. Hi, I'm Miguel ulit. Hi. Ayan.
Siya po si Miguel, by the way.
Ako si Miguel,
Ayan.
hindi ako si Roberto. Nandun yung isa.
Kasi, ayan.
Adjust down niya.
Yung magandang makinis dyan sa gitna, sa bottom.
Hello.
Happy Friday night.
Happy Friday night nga naman, guys. And of course, I'll be your main facilitator for the day or for the night. I'm Roberto. Roberto, good evening, guys. And welcome to Kinks and Kweens. We're now live on FB and Kumu. Di ba?
Yes. Yes. So before we start,
before we start, kailangan mo natin magparinig. Kink and K is brought to you by Love Yourself Incorporated and Spaces MNL. Thank you so much for having us here. And of course, we're sponsored by Bliss 4, Bliss Premier Condoms, and Bliss. Again, we're also live on YouTube and Kumu.
Yes. So speaking of Kumu, Dij sent us Tikoy. So thank you so much.
Hi, Dij! Thank you so much for Tikoy. Oh my God.
Yung Hey What's Up. And shout out to people na nanonood sa atin sa Facebook and people in Kumu. Hi, guys.
Hello, guys.
So
sige. Ganun. So ang house rules natin, just a quick recap on our house rules. You can always raise your hand. The raise your hand option dun sa reaction button. If you guys wanna to click or to interact with us, just type in the chat box if you want to talk. Turn on the video off if you want to. You can always change your name. Alalahan natin, safe space natin to. Marami sa atin dito alters pa and I respect you guys. We respect you so much. So change your name, turn off your video, okay lang yan. You can speak all you want. We respect that. And of course, enjoy lang tayo tonight. Alright?
Yeah.
Those watching live on Facebook and Kumu, type rin kayo sa chat box. We have Chal who's always on the chat box sa Facebook to keep us updated, and also the great Bill who will also check out Kumu for other comments nyo dyan. Alright? Okay. Start na ba tayo sa topic? Diyos ko.
Actually, interesting yung topic tonight and marami tayong crush dito. So let's go!
Medyo na kaya ako yung napili for this topic kasi ako yung pinaka kasi ako yung single and very very curious about this aspect of life. Ayun. So, ang topic natin for tonight is the reality of relationships. So tonight, we talk about the many facets of a relationship and if it actually, does it really work? Pero we have to realize also during this discussion, realize and accept that there are so many relationship dynamics out there. And no matter how different, how peculiar, or how normal it is, these kinds of relationships that we will be discussing will be real, valid, and most of all, be respected. Ayan, okay? All thoughts and opinions will be respected for tonight. So, okay. To start things off, Ira, ano ba ang gusto mong malaman talaga for tonight?
Siyempre, dahil naado na nga tayo sa usapin na relationship, gusto ko muna malaman kung sino yung mga currently committed, sino yung mga may jowa dyan. Ipagmalaki nyo yung mga jowa nyo. Makikitaas po yung kamay for those cameras na naka-on, and pwede din po kayo mag-raise ang hand para dun sa mga naka-off na camera. Pwede din kayo mag-type in kung mga may jowa kayo.
Sa Facebook, press 1 kung may jowa.
Press 1 kung may jowa, press 1 kung wala.
Yes. And for those in Facebook and Kumu, pwede din kayo mag-raise hand. Press 1 din kayo dyan, guys.
Gusto mo yung may nag-comment.
Gusto yung walang relationship.
Maghiwalay rin kayo.
Maghiwalay din kayo. Gusto mo yung palaya yung comment.
Alam nyo kayo, ang bibita.
Mamaya
si
po tayo
Ali.
mag-game.
In fairness, si Ali ang patuan ay LDR. Wow, mamaya tatalin ka namin tungkol dyan. Humanda ka sa amin.
Okay, let's see.
Sinabi mo na.
Mag-ask muna tayo. Meron ako dito na meron dito na hindi siya nagsalita pero alam ko he's currently in a relationship and he can't deny kasi nakikita naman natin yung mga sweet posts niya, mga photos niya together with his partner. Gusto lang natin siya kausapin. Hello, Dalton.
Ay, totoo ba?
Ayan. Talaga.
Talaga ba?
Ay, parang ang hirap naman ata kung pagdadamutan ako ng interview.
Hoy!
Ay, grabe. Alam mo, grabe tong si Dalton. Alam mo, Dalton, minsan ka na nga lang may interview namin.
Sige, ako na mag-i-interview kay Dalton.
Sige,
Ay, grabe.
Lagot.
Oh, Dalton, mamili ka, ako si Janlee.
Tinext niya ako daw.
Oh, okay. Go, Ate Janlee, interviewin mo siya. Ano yung mga gusto mong malaman?
Bakit hindi naging tayo ganyan?
Hindi po yan yung topic natin ngayong gabi. I will remain professional and unbiased.
Oh my God.
I will remain objective and professional at hindi ko pag-uusapan ang sarili ko. So Dalton, tell us about your relationship naman. So, kamusta?
Okay naman kami.
Bago yan, baka naman pwedeng paki-on ng camera kasi kilala ka naman namin.
Oo, ano ba naman yan, Dalton? Parang parang others naman tayo dito.
Malaki naman yung freshness.
Ayan.
Diba?
Wala ka nang may itatago sa akin, Dalton. Nakita ko na lahat kanina lang.
Okay. Roll VTR.
Direct. Kasi replay.
More importantly, gusto nating malaman what type of relationship are you in, Dalton?
Yes.
What type? Kami, monogamous kami.
Talaga?
Okay. So far, monogamous pa kayo?
So far, oo. Medyo bago-bago pa kasi din.
So, as time goes by, may tendency ba na mabago yung setup nyo? Nakikita mo ba na ganon?
Personally kasi sa akin, gusto ko yung monogamous lang. So, parang nag-jealous ako kapag basta ganon. Medyo possessive, ganyan.
Gano'n ka possessive?
Basta, possessive.
Ang taas ng basta.
Nag-whistle na si Mariah.
So, tanong ko kasi syempre, di ba, ayun yung common sa society or most of the relationships that we know are monogamous. In your case, diniscuss nyo ba yun na gusto nyo maging monogamous? As in, diniscuss nyo siya as a couple?
Tapos, siya rin, ganun din.
So, nag-agree kayo?
Yung gusto niya.
Okay.
So, yun.
Okay. Ay, meron palang gano'n na daw kayo katagal? Gano'n na daw kayo katagal?
10 months.
Meron nag-comment dito, ang pangalan niya Janlee, hanggang kailan na lang kayo?
Tira ulo ah.
Wala. Nakita niyo po yung mga kamay ko ay nandito, ha?
Yung paano
Baka nanunood. Baka nanunood.
Nasaan ba yung Janlee na yun?
Hindi ko
Tapos yung
Ay nga, may nag-comment, sabi nila, ungkatin po natin ng season 1. Ay,
recap.
wag po nating ugaliing balikan yung tapos na. Move on po tayo, guys.
Tama po yan.
Kung mga jowa nyo nga, hindi nyo binabalikan eh.
Monogamous po sila, irespeto po natin.
Pray na naman tayo na on dyan, girl. Grabe naman
Pero
yun.
pero Dalton, did you ever think, or if ever ba, na napag-usapan nyo on any other way other than monogamy?
Ano?
Nag-discuss na ba kayo na what if in the future, is there a possibility? Napag-usapan nyo na ba yung ganun?
Natanong ko siya noon. Tapos parang sabi niya, hindi naman fixed yung gusto niya na monogamous. Pero parang at this moment, yun yung gusto niya. Ako naman, basta kung saan siya masaya, mag-a-adjust ako.
So you're open to any other setups? You guys are open naman to other setups?
May nagtataas ng kamay.
Ay, meron.
Bahog.
Bahog dilat.
Bahog bilat.
Thank you, Dalton.
Dilat.
Babalikan ka namin.
Thanks, Dalton. Balikan ka namin.
Thank you. Ayan, si Bahog dilat.
Bahog dilat.
Bahog dilat.
Are you there?
Yes. What's your question?
Naka-fix na yung raise hand niya.
Naka-fix na pala yung raise hand.
Habang naghihintay tayo kay Bahog Dilat, sabi ni Jay Muhares, I think in every relationship, it should be monogamous. Hindi na siguro need i-discuss yun. So, willing ka bang i-expound yan, Jay?
Hey, are you there?
Jay, are you there? Yeah, actually, you know what?
Habang natin si Jay, can I...
Yeah, sorry about that.
Ayan, ito na si Jay, ito na.
Sige, go Jay.
Yeah, I believe na kailangan talaga monogamous yan. In every relationship, hindi na kailangan talaga i-discuss yun. Matik na siguro, di ba? Parang kailangan faithful kayo sa isa't isa. You know, be it in a hetero or homosexual relationship. So, yun yung point ko lang. Thanks.
Yes,
Yeah.
Richard. Okay, Richard has,
Actually, nung binasa ni Ate Janlee, yung comment ni Jay, parang may naalala lang ako kasi I forgot who told me this. Pero may nagsabi kasi sa akin na humans are actually
polygamous.
Not monogamous.
Yes.
Polygamous. And then at the same time, parang may sinabi siya nga yata siyang 30 years and parang society lang daw talaga ang nagdictate, more specifically Christianity lang ang nagdictate ng monogamy.
medyo na...
Parang maybe that's the society that we grew up in, pero there are researches din daw. I'm not saying that Jay is wrong, ha? But there are certain researches din daw na humans are really polygamous. And at the same time, yung monogamy can just last up until like 30 years if you choose monogamy. But then after 30 years, parang magke-crave, for the lack of better term, magke-crave ka na for another person.
For ibang putahe.
Actually, Mama...
Si Miguel.
Yan. In fairness, marami dito sa discussion natin sa chat box, maraming nag-chime in na. Let's focus first on yung mga sinasabi ni Mrs. Tan. Sabi ni Mrs. Tan, monogamy can also be rooted in the patriarchy and capitalism because it's a feminist theory talaga. For Albert Traqueño, hi Albert, any kind of relationship is valid as long as communication and consent is there.
Yes.
Whereas si Niels, while he does disagree with Jay's point kanina, he doesn't think Jay is wrong. But it's also toxic, sabi niya, it's also toxic to make others fit into a mold that you think fits your worldview of what relationships are or what they should be. Now, kung gano'n, and I think also si Gino si Gino also disagrees, and I wanna get that. Can we get the side of the people who disagree, who don't agree with a monogamous setup, with that relationship should be exclusively monogamous. Yeah. Tanong natin si maganda siguro ko si Gino. I'd like to ask Gino about this though. Gino, are you there?
Gino.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Hi Gino. Ayan. So what's your take?
Hello. I think the relationships depend on each and every person. Some people work better with monogamy, some people work better with polyamory. while other people work better with polyfidelity, for example. And that's all different aspects of like one umbrella. So yeah, I don't believe that everybody is fit for a monogamous relationship. It depends on the partners, because I know some people who are flourishing on polyamorous or polyfidelous relationships.
Can you describe what the difference between polyamory and polyfidelity? What's that? What's the
Okay.
difference?
Polyamory is multiple sexual partners in general. That's just it. It's just multiple sexual partners. Polyfidelity, on the other hand, are multiple sexual partners, but they're also exclusively sexual with each other.
Ah,
So, for example, a
okay.
throuple, a throuple, for example, that doesn't sleep around but just sticks to the three of them. That's a polyfidelous relationship.
Oh, polyfid.
Polyfidelius. We're learning something here today. Thank you for that. Thank you, Gino. Yan.
Si
Anytime.
Gino talaga nagsasalita, medyo nagahang yung utak ko.
Oo.
Wait lang, a lot of people naglo-load.
Thank you so much for chiming
Thank you,
in, Gino.
Gino.
Yeah, thank you for that
Gino.
insightful.
Correct.
Diba?
Thank you,
Ayan,
Gino.
another comment dito sa chat box natin. Relationships evolve over time. It may retain its monogamy, but eventually it will change. Be that as it may, sabi ni Caleb to, it cannot always be deemed wrong if both parties find it working for them.
Agree.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yan.
Totoo naman yun, actually.
Oo naman. Tapos dito naman tayo sa meron isa dito nagsabi LDR sila. So, si Ali, yung bago.
Oo, si Ali.
Si Ali ang patuan yung bago from Maguindanao. Yeah. Thank you, Gino, again.
Gino again.
Nakita si Ali. Ali, can you explain to us how your setup works? Kung paano kayo naging LDR?
Paano ba? Okay. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
So, usually 2 months pa lang kami, bago pa lang kami. And yung setup namin, since both may trabaho naman din, and siya call center, tapos ako med tech. So,
ano daw?
okay naman
Medtech.
medyo makuha sa time. Yes, medtech.
Mahirap sa
yung time, medyo, yes, kasi gabi siya, tapos ako, minsan gabi, minsan umaga. So, yun. Pero okay naman na nag-workout naman din.
May phone in question tayo dito, Ali, sa tinanong, are you Muslim?
Yes, I am.
So how does and your relationship is a heterosexual relationship?
Yes,
Is that
I am.
correct? It's a heterosexual relationship.
Why me?
Yeah. Hindi ko rin alam. Nagtanong siya. What's your, yun lang. May nagtanong lang. Ayun.
Oo.
Ba't may umuungol?
Ano na naman yung umuungol na yan? Thank you, Ali, for that. Thank you,
Ali. Thank you,
Ali.
Pero ano yung question mo nga kanina, Paris? Kasi 'di ba I think sabi ni Paris, he was asking kung sino yung mga taken
dito.
Mga nagtaas pa ba kung sino yung taken?
Actually, halos lahat ng mga naka-camera, they raise their hands.
Sige.
Pero
Para mas madali yung tanong, sino lang yung hindi taken?
Okay,
madami.
nakita na lang po tayo next
sino
episode.
Dito yung hindi, yung mga taken for granted? Alam mo, ayoko magbanggit ng mga pangalan, pero may nakikita akong 2 sinungaling.
Sino? Saan?
Parehas kakilala ko.
Ano ba yung tanong, bakla? Teka lang.
Kung sino yung mga taken for granted.
Sino yung mga, tawagin natin si Dude.
Si Dude. Actually, lagi ko nakikita si Dude.
Kaya nga na-curious na ako kay Dude. Dude, are you there?
Hey, Dude.
Ay, nagpatay ata.
Okay,
wait lang.
How How about sa Facebook at sa Kumu? Sino yung may jowa na dyan?
Oo, yan sa face. Actually, nag-aantay nga ako mag-react eh.
Ako
Meron
rin,
dito.
actually, I asked
Though
for
while-
red hearing too.
Ayun, si Ate Lig natin, aka MC Black, in a relationship, shoota.
Laiji kasi.
Laiji ba yon? Laiji ba siya?
Kasi league nakalagay ito eh.
Lig kasi, hindi, meron dito, may mga nasa relasyon daw with themselves, ganyan. Pero meron din na, kumuda kanina, si Ate Beth Domingo. Ang koda niya kanina is let love flow freely whatever relationship you build with a person or people. So parang, feeling ko doon sa sinabi niya, parang ayaw lang niya i-confine yung sarili niya, whether monogamous or polyamorous or polyfidelity yung magiging ganap sa buhay niya. Let it flow daw. Let it flow. Let it flow.
Parang walang label.
Why did you fill the
di parang walang labels. Parang
Baka sarado ng pakikik naman yon kung sino man yung gumagawa niya.
Yan.
Ayan.
Ayun. Okay. So, doesn't that mean na parang technically ang gusto niya mangyari is no label siya? Tama ba?
I think hindi naman siguro no label. It's just that whatever setup suits the relationship, as long as it's a mutual decision naman and it works for them, diba?
Has the loudest scream of all.
So, kung saan magiging okay yung relationship at kung saan yung maitatawid at saan siya tatagal na setup, then go for it.
Or I think yung sinasabi niya siguro na parang syempre, once you get together, monogamous. But then, through the course of the relationship, you let it flow. Na if there is a need for you to discuss it, then discuss it. You don't say that, okay, we're monogamous. Kumbaga parang he's not closing his doors, if I'm not mistaken. Kasi parang sinabi nga niya na, nasa na ba yun? Whatever your relationship you build with the person or people, let just the love flow. So parang siguro sinasabi niya na, maybe you will find another person na mas mamahalin mo din at the same time na may mahal ka. Yung, alam mo yun, again, the topic tonight are different types of relationships.
Hindi. Kahit ano lang.
I also
gusto nila.
Kasi parang ang gusto ko rin, di ba nga, alam niyo naman guys na hindi ako naniniwala sa dating. Mas naniniwala ako sa free-flowing kind of relationship. So parang, I think, medyo gets ko yun yung no label. Pero kahit pa paano, there has to be some sort of like distinguishing lines. Kasi parang may nasabi nga dito si Gino ang hirap ng walang label kasi walang expectations.
Roots.
Pero I think that can always be remedied by having open communications or at least nag-uusap kayo on what can or cannot happen. Diba? Tama ba? Yes, Janlee.
Agree na dapat may label. Kasi hindi ba pag walang label, edi hindi yun considered a relationship.
Relationship. Agree.
Diba? I mean, regardless if you're monogamous, polygamous, polyfidelous, diba? May label. So, ang mahalaga may label. I think yun yung most of the comments then are saying na hindi sila naniniwala sa walang label. Kasi nga, kung walang label, walang relationship.
Or siguro just to defend myself, walang label until ready na magka-label? Pwede ba yun? Yes, Miguel.
Ito may sinasabi si Mikey, no label is also a label.
Pero what does that mean?
But what does that mean? Kasi posible na ano yun? So you're just floating in limbo? Something like that? Ganon? Kasi meron akong kilala, nag-I love you na, wala pang ka-label-label eh.
Bakit sino yung pinapatama?
May pag-atake.
Ito ba siya? Ba't may pag-atake? Sino siya?
Wala pa dito, sure ako.
Nandito siya.
Ay, nandito siya. May pag-atake. Mikey, do you wanna expound on that? Mikey Bebs?
Yeah.
Mikey, you wanna expound on that?
No label is a label kasi sinabi niyo na wala kayong label so that's your label. And that's how things get messy, I guess. Kasi hindi malinaw sa inyong dalawa kung ano yung point ng ginagawa nyo.
But
diba?
aren't labels supposed to give clarity instead of
confusion? Exactly. And then when both of you or one of you insists na walang label, then tapos kunyari sabihin nyo na walang label, pero the other person ends up getting mad at you for not replying or for telling you this but actually you're doing that. Gets ba? Kumbaga, parang if one person insists that it's walang label, then dapat wala ring expectations. Kasi in itself, no label is a label. So, pwede nyo kasing sabihin na friends lang kayo. Like for example, with Roberto, if he goes out with people, I assume it's always like as friends and like yun nga, start muna as friends. So, walang label na parang, okay, we're dating. We must prefer mo na you're just hanging out. And maybe if that's the label that you established from the very beginning, then friends kayo. Otherwise, if walang ganong nangyari, if up in the air and you always say na no label, pero your actions or your motives or your words say otherwise, then maybe that's a problem. Diba? Siguro dito papasok yung communication.
Yes. Always the keyword for tonight, parang naging keyword for tonight. Yes, Chal.
But I also read this article kasi na dun sa in note dun sa sinasabi ni Mikey na parang there are relationships that don't have labels, but after everything that has happened with that setup, he's your ex something. So ang weird lang kasi yung kung ano yung meron kayo kahit walang label yon, you call that person your ex. Hindi mo siya boyfriend, but he's your ex something. Kasi may imprint siya sa'yo. So I think it's not really like, ang nakukuha ko ngayon dito sa mga participants natin, hindi siya with the setup of the relationship, but how you are connected to a person. The emotions that you invest towards a person that defines whatever it is you are.
Exactly. I agree to that naman. Kasi parang, yes, Miguel.
Yes, Dan. Ano yung sinasabi mo? Ano yun? Ayun. Echoing what Chal said, ang sabi ni Caleb, the way I see it, it's the no label is used by people who wants a setup such as experiencing a jowa or experiencing a relationship without the commitment tying you to that relationship. It's a test for a period of time to see if you can place a certain label after. It's like a trial version kumbaga. Now for Alina, sabi niya the fear of labels stems from commitment issues, and it's somewhere where she is now pala currently apparent. Yeah. So apparently meron siyang commitment issues. Marami siya, very multi-layered yung issue na ito ngayon, nung labels.
Yes, Ate Janlee.
Yes,
Janlee.
I agree naman with the comments. I think a label-less relationship will only work if both parties or all parties agree that it's label-less.
Yeah.
So, I mean, diba, if it's consensual, if both or all parties agree that it's label-less, then by all means, because it's your relationship, if you don't want to label it, then fine. I think the problem, nagkakaroon ng problema kapag yung isa gusto niya may label, yung isa ayaw niya ng label.
Yung isa wala.
So, it's so convenient for the person na ayaw ng label at kawawa naman yung person na gusto ng label kasi ayaw ng isa.
True.
True yan. Very true yan.
Ayan.
May patang pa.
Totoo yan, Mikey. Sabi nga ng commercial, check the label, mommy.
Yung mga ano nga, pinapacheck ang label, di ba? At ang sabi nga nila, umasta nang naayon sa label. Eh kung wala kayong label, anong asta mo?
Wala.
Wala.
Ganda lang,
To
ganun.
the next point nga of this. So, Chal, what do you have to say about that?
Hindi, kasi we're digging deeper na into the discussion. And I just wanna like get it out of the way na. Ano ba yung, kasi may narinig na ako kay Gino kanina na ano yun? Polyfidelity. Yan. Polyamory. Monogamy. Yan. So, can we define based on dito sa mga participants natin? And I actually invited a friend who can actually enlighten us with regard to this. Kasi parang ano ba talaga yung different types of relationships and how do they differ from each other? Kasi parang ang daming, alam mo yon, in this society, again, katulad na sa sinabi ko kanina, parang we're brought up in a very monogamous society. That monogamy is the only valid relationship. But in reality, with our title, there's a reality in real relationships.
Yes.
Because anything outside of monogamy, one is valid and two is real. It happens. So let's define it. Ano ba yung iba-ibang types of relationships muna? And to start it off, I want to call my very good friend from Shredder. Nandiyan na ba si Albert?
Nandiyan siya.
Nandiyan siya nga eh. Nakikita ko. Hi, Albert.
Hi, Albert.
By the way, before you further say anything, maraming salamat sa last minute na pagpapaunlak sa aming kwentuhan ngayong gabi. Direk, baka pwedeng pa-highlight si Albert.
Hi, Albert.
Minsan lang po yan.
Pakita natin siya.
O diba?
Lahat.
All may ganun pa nga.
kahit mahilig yan lumaps ng mga pinapadala sa kanya, may panga pa rin, di ba?
Will shy pa ako. Ang bigat naman ng enlightenment. Parang kailangan sobrang may wisdom ako tonight.
Medyo expected yon. Tsare.
Shit.
Hindi, ano ba yung iba-ibang types of relationships? I mean,
yes.
Can you walk based, well, sige, before we start off and before you like expound on it, what, are you in a relationship right now?
Yes.
And that relationship is, if you may?
Pinagkakasunduan pa kami kung anong haba.
Ay, nandyan siya? Nandyan ba si Pwede ba siya or shy siya?
Shy siya. Ano lang ako taga?
Taga-real.
Ayun. I don't know how to answer that properly, pero I guess it's safe to say naman that we came from a polyamorous relationship. So I guess yun muna.
So with that, ano ba yung mga to the extent of your knowledge when it comes to the types of relationships? Ano ba yung iba-iba? Like, with what you know lang. In this society...
Hindi ko na sa recitation ako.
Hindi. Kasi parang kami, like me, personally, ang alam ko lang, monogamy and like, polyamory. But hindi ko nga alam na may polyfidelity pa eh.
I mean,
yung mga ganun.
yeah, parang ngayon lang din ako medyo na sa polyfidelity. Kasi back then, nung kami pa, parang medyo polyamory na lang din yung ginagamit kong term. Kasi hindi naman din ako super nag-delve into all the terms. But from what I know, aside from like monogamy and polyamory, parang yun yung talagang magkaiba, diba? Siyempre within monogamy, merong open and all that. Tapos sa polyamory, meron iba-iba. Since sobrang dami, maraming ibang term. Tapos parang recently ko lang nalaman na ang tawag pala sa akin is unicorn. Unicorn ata, parang ganun. Basta someone someone na kinuha ng couple. Kinuha, dinakip. Parang together nilang, like, pinursue. So, ayun.
Oh.
So,
Unicorn
parang may
flight.
ligaw sa kanilang dalawa.
I mean, parang may consent naman on their part na i-pursue nila ako together. So, ayun.
So, nag-start silang dalawa as a couple and then pinursu ka nila.
Parang, syempre ako, dyan lang ako parang yosi-yosi lang, palamig lang. Tapos, ayun, nag-approach naman sila.
Albert, yung
Like,
hair mo, pakipusod ng very light.
Ganda ka.
Hindi, I have a question, Albert. What was your initial reaction? Kasi syempre, di ba, mabibigla ka na a couple is interested in with you na maging part din ng relationship nila.
Like anyone else, syempre, bilang anong year? Last year pa to, parang first year college pa lang ko. Ano bang alam ko? Syempre, monogamy pa lang and all that. Ano bang binabato sa atin ng media na the one, ganun. Syempre ako, parang, parang ganun. And then, syempre, medyo bilang bilang as a person in general, dapat open ka sa kahit anong possibility. So, I guess I did my own research, I consulted people, I looked at people whose relationships like that really are valid and tumatagal. So, doon ko na-convince yung self ko na it's worth a shot naman.
So, for how long mo pinagdesisyonan yun? At gaano katagal mo natanggap na okay din siya for you?
Syempre kapag pinurpursue ka, ginagalingan nila. Syempre ako medyo kahagat, parang, gano'n.
Paano? Paulit? Paano yung
Pero aside from that, like, syempre, ilang gabi din ako nag-delay nila. Umabot ako ng linggo, umabot ako ng buwan. Siguro timeless, pero 1 to 2 months ako nag-isip kung gusto ko ba talaga gawin itong official. Syempre, bilang bata ka pa lang, gusto mo, fun muna, ganun. Medyo big step na rin to for me.
Well, I just want to, kasi doon sa sinasabi mo ngayon, Albert, parang may comment dito, si Paulo Arabejo, sabi niya, tell me if you agree doon sa ganap niya, na parang relationships can truly be defined. Si Miss... Hi, Madam Jiggly. Hello. Thank you for gracing our show. Oh my God. Medyo kinilig ako ng very light. Si Jiggly Caliente.
I'm sorry, what? The Jiggly Caliente?
Yes.
Hindi naman si Jiggly Caliente. Or gusto mo E.
Shout out our Queen Jiggly.
Yes.
Mama Jiggly.
Okay ka lang.
Nanginginig ako. Sabi niya, relationships can truly be defined by the people in the relationship, customized to their liking and definition. It's very healthy actually as long as both parties fully agree to the terms of their relationship, not just comprising of their parties' not just compromising for the other's party's happiness. And ang sabi naman din ni Binibining MC Black, minsan daw kasi having no label is justifying an action of one party to make decisions without the other party getting offended. So parang medyo, sila?
One-sided.
Oo. So anong hanash mo doon? Kasi parang yung sinasabi mo, Albert, sila kasi, the couple who pursued you, may
agreement.
May consensus.
Oo.
So, do you parang nasabi ba nila sa'yo how they decided upon na, ito yung bet naming unicorn?
I love the term unicorn.
Siyempre ako, sinigurado ko na parang, sure ba kayo? Parang, talaga, parang sure kayo. Parang, siyempre, nilevel down din namin, binalance namin pros and cons, ano yung risks nito. Pero siyempre, dahil nga pinurpursue, siyempre nag-lean kami dun sa side na we'll try to make it work. So I guess, yun. And lahat naman ng relationships, mapamonogamous or polyamorous, lahat yan, may boundaries. So kahit polyamorous relationships, lalo na dyan, there is, wala talaga magkakapareho doon kasi kanya-kanyang setup, kanya-kanyang gusto, kanya-kanyang limits, kanya-kanyang rules or whatever, or boundaries, diba? So, kung ano yung mag-work sa iba, baka hindi mag-work sa akin. And doon talaga papasok yung communication.
Yes, Ate Janlee.
Yeah, very interesting one, and thank you for sharing your story, Albert. Curious lang din ako, before ka nag-enter in a polyamorous relationship, were you in a monogamous relationship?
No, single.
So, first mo ba yung polyamorous relationship?
Not necessarily, pero first official siguro na lalaki.
Oh.
Okay, pero meaning, totally, before ka nag-enter into a polyamorous relationship, wala ka pang relationship at all, or nagkaroon ka na before?
Siguro, like, not something that's worth taking note of significantly. Mga fling-fling lang, ganun. Mga umabot lang ng 2 months, I guess. So,
pero
ayun.
not official.
Yeah, the past relationship I had na ganitong ka-official was my ex-girlfriend pa na umabot ng 1 year. So, ayun.
Okay, so I'm curious, do you think that made it easier for you to be involved or to enter a polyamorous relationship considering na hindi ka nang galing sa monogamous relationship?
No, kasi kahit na hindi ako nanggaling sa monogamous relationship, ang mindset ko bilang ordinaryong tao na hindi naman na-enlighten sa lahat, monogamous din, syempre. Dahil yung mga past experiences ko, kahit mga fling lang yan, kahit mga hook-up lang yan, ang mga sinishare namin na mindset, syempre, monogamous din.
So sorry last. How was the adjustment? Kasi syempre in your mind it's still monogamous, yun yung ideal as you mentioned. So when the couple started pursuing you, can you walk us through the process? Ano yung naramdaman mo? Diba? Kasi gusto kong maramdaman kung ano yung kilig na pinupursue ng dalawang tao kasi kakaiba yun for me.
Ganda.
Kasi Albert, bibigyan ka lang namin ng background Bibigyan ka lang namin ng background kay Ate Janlee. Ang na-experience pa lang kasi na Ate Janlee yung dalawang lalaki sabay.
Dalawang nagmamasahe pa lang na-experience ko.
Wait lang, meron ka sinasabi kanina, punyeta yung ano?
Sabi ko, punyeta, hindi pa ako nagpo-pursue ng isang tao tapos itong si Albert, dalawang tao nagpo-pursue.
Oh, di ba? Ang haba ng hair.
Guys,
siyempre
maging klaro lang tayo. Janlee na yan, ganyan na itsura niyan, wala pang jowa.
Ayang.
Di ba? Masasabi natin na talaga, fair talaga
si Lord.
Sorry.
Sabihin ko, nakalimutan ko na. Syempre, kahit na single ako noon or whatever. Syempre, sobra din ako nag-doubt. Parang, seryoso ba to? Tsaka, syempre, alongside the research, andun yun yung kinakatakutan na kung anong tingin sa'yo ng iba. Kasi syempre, dahil the rest of the population, the rest of the people you are around, syempre ang isipin nila, ang weird. Syempre, mga unang open ko din sa friends ko, parang, sure ka ba dyan? Di ba parang yan? Sure ka tatagal yun? Ako naman parang, oo, dapat lang. Parang gano'n. Syempre, pag pinaglalaban mo na, andun na ako sa point na convinced na ako na gusto ko bago ko i-open up sa friends ko, syempre. And andun din yung risk, syempre, dahil doon na pag nilabas mo yun sa mundo, isipin ng mga tao sa'yo na kinailangan ka nila para ma-maintain yung relationship nila or baka kabit ka, ganun, third party, ganun. When in fact, most of the time, tropos naman or ang triad or whatever you may want to call it or ang polyamory in general or polyfidelity, di ba, daming terms. Wala nang wala nang ranking system yan. Kapag pasok ka sa relationship, syempre you'll try to treat yourselves as equals. You may love each other differently, but you love each other equally naman.
Oh, I love that. And another thing pala, may nabasa lang kasi ko na kanina pa ako nababother dito sa Zoom room natin na parang unicorn is cute term for third party. Parang nabanggit din kasi ni Albert na parang hindi in a triad. It's not actually a third party. Kasi may consent. Okay, I think third party is yung natatanging party na ayaw ng lahat ng tao.
Kabet.
Diba? Yung kabet.
Siyempre, anong pinapanood natin ngayon, di ba?
Si Shasha Padilla, ganyan. May patago.
Pero,
yung unicorn, I think, is the term used. It is a cute term used for someone being pursued. And just to be clear, it's not a third party. Kasi
Yeah,
consensual for both.
Not necessarily a third party, pero like, aminado naman na you're the third, but hindi yun yung hindi yun yung basehan. Parang late ka lang siguro dumating, parang napag-isipan ka lang na. Parang gusto pa rin namin kahit dalawa na kami. And that's it. Parang mali siya yun. Diba?
Sorry, Miguel, you have a question? Ay, wala siya. Yeah, go Bill.
Ay, sorry. So in short, wala nang parang seniority sa like ako yung nauna, dapat ako yung may so wala nang
trabaho, bakla.
So once you enter that so pantay-pantay na yung laban, and then
I mean, syempre walang inevitable na nandun siya. Parang syempre mas matibay yung pundasyon nila dahil kunyari ilang years na sila together bago makapasok. But I think it's also part of their job, if parang merong accountability, I guess, in a sense na dahil ikaw yung pinursue at hindi mo naman ginusto to nung una, na-convince ka naman nila, bakit sila pa yung magpapa-feel sa'yo na left out ka, diba? Hindi dapat yan.
Paris, go. Tapos Miguel, may comment ka pa ba?
Yes, definitely.
Sige, after Paris.
So much about the technicalities of the relationship. I'm so curious dito sa setup na to, ha?
Ako rin eh.
How about in bed? How do you do it? Do you do it?
Ay, gusto ko yung kinilig siya.
Gusto ko yung tanong mo.
Hindi pa ako tapos. Do you do it all together? Or meron setup na, okay, ako muna sa'yo, and then, or maya-maya, ikaw naman sa kanya, and then kami naman later?
Kasi may kilala din ako na parang ang sinasabi nila, parang, actually marami kong kilala in that setup na parang yung isa, they can't sleep with the other person na silang dalawa lang. Yung iba naman, dead ma. Jowa naman namin siya, so parang carry lang. So kaya kami na-curious, Albert. Sorry sabihin mo sa amin kung intrusive na kami.
Hindi. Pwede ko naman isagot while not making it exclusive to sex.
Ayaw mo ipakita.
Sa mga gusto pong makita, sa mga gusto pong mag-demo sila, press 1.
Press 1!
Ay, ang dami na naguan. Ayan, ang dami naguan. Go na!
Char lang.
Ganito. Without making it exclusive to sex. I mean, like, not normal, like, conventional relationships, like monogamous relationships, like, a stranger turned friends. Syempre, i-enrich mo muna yung bond nyo ng one by one. And yun ang importante siguro para walang feeling of being left out, para walang pagde-define na kabit ka or mas parang mas gusto ko to kaysa sa'yo, parang gano'n. Syempre parang you'll find ways to know each other equally din, I guess, in a sense na hindi necessarily kailangan tatlo kayo together kasi sometimes medyo crowded or there are some moments na mas intimate talaga pag dalawa lang kayo. And hindi naman natin yung tinatanggal kapag kunyari naging throuple na kayo. May mga times naman talaga na kunyari kayo lang magkasama because of a certain instance or condition. And hindi naman natin strictly, hindi naman tayo magiging toxic na bawal yan. Pag hindi mo ako kasama, bawal mo siyang makasama. I guess for us, and I guess for other trouples I know, yun ang tinatry nila. Like how you get to know friend. Yun na. Parang one-on-one muna bago kayo sumabak sa tigda-dalawa.
Ay! Ano one-on-one muna?
Ay, one-on-one? Ay, may hazing.
Hindi, parang may parang chinek nyo muna yung compatibility ng isa't isa bago ganon?
Siyempre parang it's twice the work. Like,
girl, it's really twice the work.
Oh, it's twice the work, but it's
correct.
It's twice the fun and love naman. So, ayun.
Ate Janlee, baka may gusto kang sabihin?
Kailangan nyo ba ng pang-apat?
Okay, si Miguel. Miguel, your question.
Wait, natawa ako dito. Sabi ni Sir Pax, may dalawang mic test.
Mic test?
Mic test one?
Nakaganon siya sa Parang gusto ko yun. Joke lang. Pero ito, Albert, coming from a polyamorous relationship, and now you guys are and now you are in a monogamous relationship. What's the difference? What happened? Really?
Grabe naman yung what happened. What happened?
Oo. So what happened?
Grabe yung what happened.
Ano, I guess, clarify lang. We don't really try to call ourselves exclusively monogamous din. It just so happened na right now, dalawa na muna kami para sa mga nangyari. And before we like do anything else or before we make big decisions, we'll try to strengthen each other's bonds, I guess. So ayun. And coming from a polyamorous relationship, ako bilang na-expose ako doon at para syempre 'di ba, mas mahirap mag-unlearn kaysa mag-learn ng mga bagong bagay, 'di ba? Andun na yung mindset ko, andun na yung possibilities na meron sa utak ko na parang hindi ko na kailangan i-deprive yung sarili ko kasi alam ko na may pakikinabangan naman ako doon. And ayun, sa ngayon, kami muna.
Pero okay, yung follow-up question lang dyan, sabi mong sa ngayon kayo muna, since it got out of the triad, natas kayong dalawa lang, does it automatically mean na parang open for another person?
Audition.
Or hindi? Ay, may pa-audition?
Ay, Ate Janlee pa.
Janlee to na.
Ate Janlee.
No naman. I mean, dahil yung sobrang broad ng term na polyamory, it doesn't necessarily mean we want to go back to that proper. Pwede namang open lang, pwede naman something less serious, pwede rin, iba parang sobrang hirap i-explain. And hindi naman kami necessarily babalik 100% to how we used to. Pero andun yung natutunan namin from there. So, ayun.
Oo. In fairness, actually sobrang nakaka-enlighten kasi isa kayo sa mga stinan ko talaga siya sweater. Nung ang niyan, ang ganap kasi diyan nung nagpa-reveal, may yung picture na ganon. Tanda ko yun yung pahabang picture.
Yung parang
yung nag-time zone kayo.
Sa booth.
Yung photo booth ba yung tawag doon?
Inaalala din talaga. Photo booth. Okay.
Ayun. Gusto niyo yung mas naaalala ko pa. Tapos sabi ko, oh my God! Yun. Stinan ko na sila.
Parang ano uli yung oh my God? Paano?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Yun. Ganon.
Ulitin mo.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you so much. Kasi pinunlakan mo ang aming imbitasyon.
Yeah.
Pero mamaya kumuda ka pa kasi sobrang
marami
curious
pang
namin.
question.
Thank you, Albert.
Nandito lang ako. Parang
gusto nyo manligaw ng trans.
Thank you din kay Joawit Smez na naka-off cam.
Office.
Kabog naman yung may coaching sa harapan, no?
Cute nila, no?
Talaga.
Let's go naman to Bill. Bill, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, so I'm curious kasi napag-usapan na nga natin yung ganung setup. So, paano yung agreement? Like, paano nyo like, may boundaries ba na kailangan i-set within the relationship or rules in order to maintain that relationship? So I'm really curious. So can anyone here can share? Ay, Ate Janlee, ikaw talaga. Okay.
Hindi ako ha. Mag-nominate ako. Tinanong ko naman na siya and sabi niya open naman daw siya. Di ba? Coming from Albert.
Let's see what that's important.
Albert.
Coming from Albert na unicorn, punta naman tayo sa other side. Yung nanligaw naman ng unicorn.
Of the Z.
So, let's welcome back Gino.
Hello.
Hi,
I'm welcome.
Gino.
Hi, Gino.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Hi, I'm here.
There. Hi, Gino. Ayan. Go
Hi.
Miguel.
Hi, Gino. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I have a question agad.
Wala
pa naman tanong.
Hindi pa siya nakasagot.
Pero hindi pa nakasagot si Gino doon sa unang tanong. Teka lang.
Bigyan mo muna siya ng chance.
Pahingihin mo muna, Mars.
Okay. Hindi, makikinig muna.
So what is the question again?
Ayun. So the question is, meron bang boundaries or rules na kailangan i-set during in that kind of relationship in order to maintain that?
Parang it's like setting relationships and boundaries. Setting boundaries in any relationship, either monogamous or polyamorous. It's always just about open communication and talking about where each person stands. So yeah, it's more of about, there's no like, it's not like, well, because we're a throuple or we're a triad or a trine or whatever you want to call it. Things are different now, so we have to do it this way. No, it for us it was exactly the same as when we were monogamous. That it just so happened that there was a third person there. So yeah, it's all, the boundaries were the same. Yes, Roberto.
No, I think si Paris may question.
Hindi, mamaya na ako.
Ready ka na, Mars.
Ako, may question ako kay Gino.
Pag nakadalawa na.
Janlee.
Yeah, so Gino, I mean, it's not like I don't know the story, pero just so everyone will find out. No, kasi, and thank you, Gino, for agreeing to be interviewed.
Yes, thank you.
And sharing your story. So similar to our question kay Albert, how did it start? So, and when meron ba siyang process na na-realize mo na, I'm also open to being in a polyamorous relationship? Is it something na from the start na realize mo, or kailan siya nagsimula?
May awakening, ganon. May bet ko na.
Very Sailor Moon transformation. Yes.
Ulitin mo ulit. Hindi ko nakita.
Ano ba? Go, Gino.
Yeah, because before our third, we were in a monogamous relationship, and we never even thought that we'd be open in any way. We never really pursued an open relationship or the idea of an open relationship, either polyamorous or polyfidelity, which falls under the polyamory umbrella. But then to answer Janlee's question, we just started hanging out with this guy a lot. You know, Roberto would like this because we never really went on any dates or anything. We just started hanging out a lot. And eventually we just realized that we were developing feelings for him. And because what happened was that we're always talking with me and Dridge. We're always talking, and we always have open communication. So when we're always talking about we're always talking about how we're feeling and everything else, and because of that, we realized that we were both falling for the same guy. So what happened was, yeah, and apparently the guy was kind of falling for us at the same time. So we decided to talk about it with all three of us. And when all three of us talked about it, we realized that we were all falling for each other. So we decided to give it a go. That was about. That was about on our 7th year of our relationship with Dridge, I think.
Wow.
You guys still together?
The three of us? No, not anymore. He broke up with us a few years back. We lasted for about a year and a half.
So parang paano nangyari yung breakup? Kasi and this branches to my other question na, kasi may ibang setup din wherein the third person is in a relationship with the relationship versus the third person being in a relationship with both of them. Kumbaga, the three of them are really in a relationship versus
those are two different things, yeah.
Ang talino mo dyan. Talino mo natin, Chal.
Minsan lang.
10 p.m. challenge.
Go, Gino.
Yeah, those are two separate things. Whether you're in a relationship with the two of them as a whole or separately, I would have liked to think that we were in a relationship with each other. So it wasn't like me and Dridge with a third person. I'd like to think that we were more of in equal footing. Of course, that would be arguable depending on which party you talk to, because of course there was a lot of difficulty also trying to get that balance, especially since we were all new. Like our third, it was only his, I think, second relationship ever. And then with me, it was my third, and with Eldridge, it was only his second relationship ever also. So it was difficult for us to kind of find that balance between everything. So I would have liked to think that we were all equal in each other's, standing instead of anything else.
Yes, Janlee.
Yeah. Thank you, Gino.
Thank you so much, Gino.
Brian is asking, do you have equal feelings for each other, or is it some? I know this is very personal, but I mean, on your end, do you think when all three of you were together, did you have equal feelings for each of them?
I would like to think that I had equal feelings for the both of them. Yes, of course, there was more of a foundation between me and Dridge because we had a relationship before our third came in, right? But aside from that, I would have liked to think that we were all equal in that sense. Of course, there was celos, like people would get celos sometimes, and and all that. But then you talk things through, and you figure things out, and so. You just talk about these things. Open communication, very important in any relationship.
Correct. And tanong ulit ni Brian kanina, I remember Brian asked, paano yung anniversaries or monthsaries? Naiiba ba siya kapag may unicorn na pumasok? Or how do you celebrate these things?
With us, yeah, it changed for a while. Depending when he got together with us, it became when we became together, because there's a story of somebody who was engaged. I think they were engaged, or I think they were married. I'm not sure, either engaged or married, that they got a divorce because of the third, to make sure that the third felt welcome and made sure that the third was part of an equal relationship with everyone else. Sweet, no?
Sweet.
Sweet.
That's a super
Yun yung mga
big
divorce na parang masayang divorce.
Yeah.
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so amazed. It's so refreshing. Everything is so refreshing.
Yan, Paris, ready na ba yung question mo?
Kaya na, Mars? Kaya ba tonight?
Okay na.
Nalimutan ko actually.
Mars, alam namin nagsa-struggle ka kasi walang alak sa sistema mo. Okay lang yan, naiintindihan namin.
Hindi, nalimutan ko, promise, kasi kanina nabasa ko lang siya dito, tapos I was just trying to say the question kasi hindi siya napansin kanina, nalimutan ko din. So, pass muna tayo. Mamaya siguro
Yes, Miguel. Alright. Yes, Miguel.
Sabi ni Neil G dito, and I want to address this na they broke the foundation that Gina and Dridge broke the foundation that they once had just to give way to the third person. I don't correct me if I'm wrong, Gina, pero for me it doesn't feel like you broke anything. For me it doesn't feel like you broke any foundation, but rather you just built on an existing foundation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
But I think he was pertaining to the ones who got married.
The couple who divorced.
The couple who got married.
But are you still breaking a foundation there? Because even if you got divorced, you already had a relationship to begin with.
That's true. Semantics, I guess.
It's semantics only.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Semantics, yung
Tuwing Semana Santa lang ba yun?
Oo, yung parang gano'n. Yung pagpunta ka sa iglesia, yung mga gano'n. Punta ka simbahan. Semantics yung gano'n. Tapos yung...
Medyo may po kasi kami dito sa Kinks and Kweens. They made this rule na pag mga 11, medyo hinay-hinay lang po tayo sa mga malalalim na terms. Hindi ako maka-keep up eh. Naubos po yung English ko pagtas ng 5 p.m. So medyo, kilala ko naman na si Gino, so ako na nag-adjust. Way back pa lang, normal conversation, nasa is pa lang. Ganyan na siya talaga magsalita. So kanina medyo napahinga ako ng very hard.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you so much, Gino.
Okay, break time muna tayo dahil medyo ang lalim, ang dami mga terminologies. Let's go to the next segment. Okay. Ano na ba yung next segment natin?
Kinky time, Roberto.
Hindi niyo ba tatanungin kung bakit ito yung dala ko for kinky time?
Kasi yun yung pinapasok mo sa web.
Kasi kulang pa yan. So,
gusto niyo guys, press 1 kung gusto niyo mawala to.
Oh my God.
Charot lang.
Ang dami nagawa.
Ano?
Sa mga Facebook and Kumu, pwede kayo mag-comment and press 1 kung gusto nyo.
Lalabanan
Press 1 kung
Lalabanan
press 2
kita,
kung
ate.
ito yung gusto niyang mawala.
Lalabanan kita.
Ako kaya ko lang ito.
Ayun.
Ay, hindi tayo sure
Wow.
dyan. Hindi tayo sure dyan.
Kala nyo kayo lang ito sa akin. Ano?
Yes,
Let's go to kinky time.
Kinky time.
Yes. Kinky time.
So Miguel, hanap tayo ng pwede mag-share. Sino
Ano
gusto?
tayo?
Meron akong gustong tanungin.
Ay,
sige,
sige,
go.
ikaw, Paris. Sino gusto mong tanongin?
Mr. Jason Ong.
Ay, gusto ko malaman yan.
Ako din gusto ko malaman yan.
Context. Sino si
Sabi ko
Jason
sa inyo,
Ong?
magaling ako sa mga ganyang pilian eh.
Ay, ako
Sino
rin.
raw
Gusto
si
ko
Jason
malaman.
Ong? Sino raw si Jason Ong?
Habang humihinga po yung Jason Ong at ino-orient niya yung sarili niya, shout out lang po sa 26,000 viewers natin sa Facebook.
Yes.
Yung mga gusto mag-comment dito for their kinks, kung ano mga kinks nyo, send in kasi mamimili kami ng winners for Kink and
Yes, may prizes dito. Sponsored tayo, remember?
Jason. May tanong ako. Yung tanong ko, pwede ko i-confirm sa isang tao dito kung totoo. ano yung kinkiest kink mo? Ay, may kinuha siya. Ano yun?
Ano yung kinuha niya?
Wine bottle daw.
Wala sa kanya. Andito sa bahay.
Hoy, wag kang maingay. Hindi naman ikaw ang tinatanong, Bill.
Ay, okay.
Oh, yes, Jason.
Ano na, Jason? Ang tagal? Sorry.
Actually, wala masyado. Pero right now kasi nag-explore kami ni Bill.
Anong
Agree. Ako tayong name dropping muna.
Ang ganda-ganda naman ng Bill.
Wala po muna tayong name dropping kung sino po yung mga kasama nyo mag-explore. Okay guys, para po sa mga nakarinig, kalimutan muna natin panandalian.
O kayo si Dora ngayon?
Dora the Explorer.
Okay, proceed. Go ahead.
Ayun, so right now medyo interested ako sa pain.
Sa
wow!
pain.
Ay, wow!
Anong klaseng pain ba to? Ano na yung mga nagawa ni
window pane. Ganon. Gagawa sila ng stained glass, yung mga ganon.
Yes. Ano na yung mga anong klaseng sakit na yung na ibigay sa iyo?
Sakit sa ulo.
Consumption
daw.
May nagtanong kung umabot na daw ba kayo sa may dumugo na ganon?
Wala naman.
Hoy, grabe naman kayo.
Hindi ganun pain yung tipong sinasampal ka, sinasabon.
Hindi naman. Yung mga subtle
pain. Nagkakamali ka din sa sinasabunutan.
Kaya nga. Na-realize ko.
Bill, wala kang karapatan magsalita ngayon. Hindi ikaw yung in-interview.
Okay, fine.
So, na lang, makiki-expound na lang yung pain na yon. Kasi na-curious kami kung ano yung pain na yon eh.
Wait lang, yung pain inflicted sa'yo?
Yeah, oo.
Okay, kasi hindi ko ma-imagine kung yung isa. Kasi sasabihin nung, baby, ang sakit. So,
no,
at least malinaw.
Hindi ganon. Ouch, baby. Ganon. English yan.
Ouch,
English yan lahat.
So,
English yan
expound mo, Jason.
Well, currently, more on pinching. Mga ganon.
Pinching.
Saan? Which parts?
Nagkukurutan lang po.
Again, Bill, bawal ka magsalita. Sa which parts? Pakituro nga sa amin, Jason, kung saan.
Alam ko na.
yung pwede sa kumu, ha?
So, dito. Yan. Saan pa? Dito. Dito rin. Yan.
How about
Is it a yes or a no? Yan. Sa puwet rin. Ayaw na.
Natatakot na siya sumagot.
Natatakot na magsalita.
Wala.
Close your eyes.
Nag-explore pa naman kami, so...
Minsan try mo hampasin si Bill nung nung baseball bat.
Yung dos por dos, okay yun. Gripuhan mo si Bill.
Sure ako painful talaga yun. Tingnan natin kung magising pa yan.
Pero min kita. Thanks,
So,
Jason.
thank you,
Thanks,
Jason.
Jason. Sino pa kaya pwede nating anuhin? Sino pa
Ay,
kaya?
ito.
Andito ba si Ken? Makabawi man lang. Wait lang, andito ba si Ken?
Regular natin to.
Tulog na.
Nandito si Ate Pat.
Yan, si Ate Pat. Ate Pat, ano ang kink natin?
Wala
Hello.
akong sisend. Ayan, si Tita Pat.
Kamusta ka naman, Ate Pat?
Busy, ngayon lang nga ulit ako nakanood eh.
Welcome back!
Dahil ngayon ka lang nakanood, gusto namin malaman kung ano yung kinkiest kink mo.
Ako yung na ina mo.
Oy, bawal yung mga nasa kubo tayo naka-live.
Baka bigla tayong bumagsak.
yung siya, wala siyang gagawin. Ako lahat yung gagawa. So,
ay, dominante siya.
Hindi. Service-oriented ang tawag doon.
Pero hindi siyang totoo. Ganon.
Servisyong totoo. Anong mga ginagawa mo?
Nagluluto, naglalaba, naghuhugas ng kotse, naglalabas ng basura, lahat.
Yun, favorite ko ang BJ, pero yung inuupuan ko, yung nakahinga lang siya. Tapos, ayokong gagalaw siya.
Ah, talaga?
Facial reaction lang.
Tapos tinatali mo yung kamay.
Hindi, ayoko na may nakatali. I'm not into bondage. Pero gusto ko lang yung nakita ko yung facial reaction niya sa ginagawa ko.
So, parang walang pakajot, walang...
May
ikaw lang talaga lahat?
Oo, may mga moments na gano'n na gusto ko ako lang talaga.
Sabi mo, hiya, dig. Ganon lang lagi.
Cartwheel, tapos sakto doon.
Oh my God. Grabe yung squats mo.
Yun.
Ate Pat. Since gusto mo naman ng serbisyong totoo, tuwad challenge ka naman ngayon.
Sige nga, try natin.
Nagawa ko na, kaya ko. Excuse me.
Ay, hindi po nakikita ng 45 billion natin dito. Baka lang naman.
Yeah!
Nakikita tayo eh.
Wait.
Ayan.
After ni Tita Pat, abangan nyo si Roberto.
Mamaya si Roberto,
Mamaya. Oh,
ayan.
Tunay na bottom kung di mo siya kaya.
Ay!
Alam mo, totoo.
Thank you.
Ang galing.
Thank you, Tita Pat. Okay.
Thank you, ate.
Ay, ito gusto ko.
Pero ikaw muna gawin mo, Roberto.
Wait lang, hindi pa tayo tapos sa Kinky Time segment. Ito gusto ko marinig. Si Niels.
Niels, ano yung sa'yo?
Niels.
Ano na naman, mata ko. Which one?
Yung pinaka-kinky.
I can't consider one to be the most kinkiest because a lot of them are kinky. So,
favorite na lang.
So, ano yung favorite mo? One of them.
Fisting?
Ano?
Okay.
Wait. As a top, fisting as a top.
Okay.
Paano pa as a bottom?
Magaling ako dyan.
Oh, we love that. We could practice. Charot.
Pero wait. But what satisfaction do you get from as a top? What kind of satisfaction or sensation do you get from fisting your bottom? Actually, curious ako dyan.
It's the same thing as with Tita Pat. If you also see the amount of when your partner is squirming in pleasure, that's amazing. Like you could just see the entire body just twitching and just enjoying it, and then you see
Yes, Chal.
you bring a lot of happiness to you and
Yes,
your partner.
Yes, Chal.
Yeah. Yes,
Ito
Mars.
curious lang talaga ako Kasi nakakita
Go.
naman ako ng mga video.
Yeah,
Pag
go.
fisting ba, may limit yon?
Hanggang
Or through the
saan?
fire?
Hanggang dito? Hanggang dito
Aabot ba
lang?
minsan hanggang shoulder?
So, eto.
Seryoso ako nagtatanong.
I know. It depends on your fisting partner.
Hindi ko, Mars, ang haba.
Bakla, parang sa akin.
Pagkakuha ko, kukunin ko na din yung ano niya, dila niya.
Pagpasok mong ganun, nakulbit mo na yung puso niya.
At least alam mo sa'yo yung puso, di ba?
Wait lang, natatawa ko.
Hindi, Mars, may limit. Pero tawa ko dun sa fisting niya. Yun. Mars, ano ba? May limit ba?
It depends always on your fisting partner, you know. So their fisting partner who could only get it into your wrist, and then of course there are fisting partners who could get it almost to your elbows.
I've seen those people hanggang elbows.
So parang yung first fisting partner ko kasi parang ano ba? So when he opened up the idea to me, it was parang ako, okay, like interesting, but also like I would have never thought of being into that. Then you realize how much process it needs to get there, and so much trust has to be there also with you. Na yung partner mo, he trusts that, alam mo yun, pagpasok na kami mo, hindi mo nang bubuka tapos papalakpak ka doon.
Nils, may tanong ako, ano yung heading na sinasabi ng manager namin? Ano heading?
Siya! Baka mahilig siya sa heading.
Ulo mo daw yung papasok mo, girl.
Girl, yung may buhok?
Gago meron gano'n. Ay, sorry.
Oh my God. Ganun mo, hello!
Tapos sisigaw ka.
Ayan, so iba na po yung topic natin tonight. Fisting na po.
Girl, sadali, hindi ko ma-imagine kasi pag sa akin, kasi bineasure ko, girl, 17 inches yung elbow.
Ba't ka may katabing ruler?
Kasi nandito ako sa desk ko, di ba?
Di ba nga? But just imagine, you also have different, ano ba? There are people who are good not good, but deep bottoms and who are shallow bottoms. Just as much as there are people who could reach the wrist of your fist and those who could reach your elbows. Maybe shoulders. Charot. Hindi naman
kasi kaya siya, hindi kasya yung fist ng jowa ko sa akin. PS5 niya yung kasya sa akin.
Try mo yung buong jowa mo
Try
mo buong jowa mo ipasok mo.
Hindi, minsan yung PS5 nakapasok, pati yung TV, tapos naglalaro siya sa loob. Maganda daw ang acoustics.
Oh my God.
Car lang.
Wait lang, gusto ko yung comment yung ano, hanggang saan? Hanggang leeg daw. Para kay kapatid na Arlene, hanggang leeg. So hanggang saan naabot yung fisting mo, kapatid na Arlene? Hanggang leeg po.
All right.
Anyway,
thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Niels. Wait lang, share ko lang in fairness sa fisting na yan, to be fair, the first time that I got fisted, I didn't know that it was a fist.
Okay. Wag mo nang
Ayoko na i-broadcast pa.
You're welcome, people. Ito po ang reality.
Ang galing.
I love.
Di ba nakakaloka? Parang ano to?
Para siguro, tanong siguro ni Miguel, nakapasok na ba?
Gaga, hindi. Kasi akala...
Meron po ka-power si Miguel Lago na bottom. Ganyan po.
Gags, hindi kasi akala ko dahil sa...
Ilan deep, wide bottom din.
Ano ba? Sobrang ducks ba niya? Bakit para ang laki? Tapos pagkasilip ko, sabi ko, bakit ganun siya?
Bakit nagbabato-topic kayo pero yung kamay niya nakalabas sa bibig mo? Hindi. Ayun, salamat, Niels.
Salamat.
Thank you so much, Niels.
Salamat, Niels. Ito ka. Nagko-comment ngayon si Francis S. O sige, Francis S. Ikaw, ano sa'yo? Ano? Comment ka dyan. Sige, ano sa'yo, te?
Uy, walang laglagan. Okay,
Ayun
tara.
na
Mamaya yan.
Mamaya
After
ka
show,
sa
makikita
akin.
niya.
I think maybe we can talk about other kinks during the after show.
Yes.
Let's go
Yes.
back
Episode
natin
tayo
sa topic
doon.
natin.
May episode
Ha?
tayong nakalinya for that, di ba?
Yes, oo.
Yes, we have.
Yun na, isang buong
So watch
episode po
out.
tayo magbabastusan at
Isang
mag-share
episode
ng
po kami
ating...
nag-feasting.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Ikaw
Okay.
i-feast
So,
namin. Yeah.
Meron pa po tayong ilang episode na paghahandaan para makita natin si Roberto na ma-feast.
Yes.
Hoy! Wala sa usapan yun.
Isa-isa po kayong mag-feast sa kanya.
Yes.
Anyway.
Pagpasok
balik ko sa
nyo.
topic. Balik ko sa topic.
Pagpasok na kayo, meron kayong premyo sa loob. Yung premyo,
Hindi,
kailangan
pagpasok nyo.
makuha nyo yun.
Ang topic
Pagpasok nyo may
ngayon,
diplomang inaabot.
Ang topic ngayon, relationships.
Okay, going back.
Going back.
So, ano nang ganap?
Ito, may ako.
Roberto.
Oh my God. Okay, going back. Okay, sige. So we're now in the reality of relationships and we were able to discuss na yung mga setups, how it happens. Let's go with your perspective, Miguel. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, before you proceed to the topic, sige, let's recap lang what we discussed prior to Kinky Time. We discussed dynamics, that there are indeed different types of relationships, and there are different dynamics to these relationships. And there is not one relationship that has the same dynamics as the other one. In the same way as each relationship also has their struggles. So the question that I have here is that what are the common struggles involved in these types of relationships, whether it's monogamous, polyamorous, or polyfidelious, and how do you solve them? How do you solve these challenges that you have? Later let's talk to Albert about this, and I think there are others naman. But I want to call Francis again. Yes, ito na. I want to call Francis because nagkaroon siya ng ganitong klaseng challenges also dun sa mga past relationships niya. So Francis, pasok ka, halika dito, nasan ka?
Hello.
Hi Francis. Hi sis.
Hi. Hello.
Ayan. Hahayaan na kitang magkwento. Okay? Kasi total alam ko naman yung kwento mo. Pero what were the struggles that you encountered in your past relationships, particularly the ones that lasted a really long time? Alam ko the other one was 10 years, right?
Yes. So, I've had a 10-year relationship before. Siya yung very first ex ko. So, during our 8th year kasi, he asked me na, can we be in an open relationship? So, he suggested that setup to me. One of the reasons one is, we started very early kasi naging kami during 16 years old pa lang kami, during way back college days pa namin. So he felt that he was missing a lot while yung mga tao sa paligid niya were like talking about their sexcapades, talking about whatever experiences that they've had with their dates or whatever. So medyo nainggit siya on that matter. So kaya binibring up niya yun sa akin. Also, one reason is that nahuhuli ko na siya na he's doing side hustles. He's doing side hustles. So sabi ko, okay, sige, para naman at least na ma-legalize na yan, hindi mo na siya gagawin ulit, might as well illegalize mo na lang siya kasi mahirap na tinatago mo pa na may gusto ko palang gawin. Tapos, yun. So, during the first year, ang unang setup namin is open relationship nga na ang unang rule namin was, mag-invite lang kami ng other person just to try it out. Kumbaga, threesome lang. Ganon. And then, until it evolved to to a more complicated, or to a more dynamic setup na gusto niya na magkaroon kami ng separate na dates or separate to meet, we do it separately. Kasi there are times na hindi kami pwede dun sa mga gusto niyo i-meet. So ako rin hindi ako pwede during the times na siya hindi siya pwede pag may gusto ko i-meet. So nagkaroon na kami ng agreement na okay, sige, let's do it separately na lang. Until sumunod na nagkaroon na naman kami ng another one na parang nagkaroon naman na kami ng consistent third. Nag-evolve na naman yung relationship namin to someone na meron na kaming consistent third na yung iba kasi they are officially a throuple. Pero doon sa amin, hindi kami official na throuple. Walang nagsasabi ng feelings, walang nagsasabing I love you. And then, wala rin, yung third guy din naman, he is also seeing other people. And then, on my part, medyo mahirap yung ganong setup kasi you don't know ano na yung nangyayari. Kung meron ba talagang attachment with the guy or talagang you're just enjoying the company. Ayun.
So basically, what happened with you was that there was no clear-cut communication or clear-cut labels as to what your relationship really was.
Yes. So ang daming phases na nag-iiba-iba yung relationship namin. Kaya nasabi ko rin kanina, yung rules, they may change over time, depends on what your partner wants or on what you both want. Kasi, syempre, di ba, hindi naman, syempre tao tayo, lahat ng gusto natin, nagbabago rin siya over the years. Kaya, yun din, you have, nagkakaroon kami ng usapan na, ito, since nagawa na natin to, let's do this man. Okay, let's do this. Pero, yung pinaka-last namin was the most complicated since there is already another person involved. Na, yun nga lang, yung iba kasi, they have a very clear na, sige, we're dating as a throuple. Pero kasi doon sa amin, we don't have that exclusivity, we don't have that label before. So, medyo mahirap yung ganun for me. Ayun.
Alright. Thank you, Francis, for so kasi your story is basically an example of what's going to happen if you don't address the struggles or the challenges that you have in your relationship. Okay, so thanks,
Yes.
Francis. And now we move on to someone who has struggles but who is able to kumbaga address them more properly. Yes, Richard, you have something.
Hindi, para lang clear lang din kasi I think we know the person that you're gonna call.
Yeah.
Yung kay Francis kasi, it's a setup that he lived.
Yes.
It's something that he lived through. Maybe I think the person that we're gonna be calling is currently living
this
the setup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think based dun sa taong kausap natin, nandito din daw yung isa niyang kasama sa relationship. So
partner.
Yeah, so nandito na ngayon. So let's call John. John is there. John with the J-O-N.
Yes,
Hi,
John.
John.
Hi, John. Hi.
Ayun siya, nagbukas siya ng
Ang fresh naman.
Nasaan? Hindi ko makita. Bakit nawawala siya?
Nasa baba.
Nasa baba siya.
Ayan. Ay, ang fresh naman.
Di ba?
Hey, joke.
Naging mongoloid yung mga host. Pagpasensyahan nyo na po.
Pogi na mga interviewees natin.
Hello, cute naman yan. Joke.
Hi, John. So, to start things off, what is the relationship? What is the kind of relationship you're in?
It's a throuple.
Yeah. So,
yes. Go, Miguel. Go.
Can you tell us what were the struggles or the challenges that you experienced as a throuple, and how were you able to overcome or to address these challenges?
And actually, there's a lot of challenges, I guess. So parang the most basic challenge siguro is overcoming yung jealousy. I think everybody, most of the people here naman I'm familiar with. And I think everybody saw naman before we were actually a couple. Well, actually, it's a pandemic story as well. Like it happened during the pandemic, so we were spending a lot of time with this particular person, and then parang similar to how Two Plate said, we were developing parang feelings for this guy. Tapos parang we didn't like to admit it to ourselves first. Tapos parang I think the first challenge talaga that we had to overcome was yung jealousy. Kasi it takes a lot of trust before you can actually be open, and then eventually become more than just being open. And I don't think now we fully overcame it yet. Kasi I know for myself na I'm super jealous. So I don't think you can have naman that, diba? So yan nga ba?
Pero how did you overcome, like, ngayon ba, sige, sabi mo you're super jealous. Ngayon ba if you don't mind, John, gano'n na pala kayo katagal in this setup? Like, kahit hindi specific, like a span lang siguro.
It's been roughly mga 6 months na. 6 months with the third guy.
Pero before the third guy, you guys are together na like for
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
First nyo to si Guy?
First couple, no.
Okay. So the first one happened within the span of 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So parang ngayon, sabihin mo mga half a year na, may ano pa rin ba? May jealousy pa rin? Or may...
Yeah, in certain things. Like parang if you leave them, parang pag napansin mo na they have this connection na you don't have. Parang if you walk into a room tapos they're laughing so hard, tapos parang you don't know what it is. So parang you feel a little jealous na they're having so much fun without you. Pero more of the na siya, on top of the being sexual thing, parang it's the little things na that make you a little jealous.
Si Ate Janlee ata may gustong
tanong. Si Janlee ko muna.
Yeah, so again, interesting siya, no? Kasi you mentioned na since it's a throuple, I mean, of course, hindi naman naiiwasan yung jealousy regardless kung anong type of relationship. Pero would you say na being in a throuple, mas prone ka to experience jealousy since merong tatlo kayo involved?
Parang hindi. Parang parang mas jealous na ako na mas may time sila for each other. Pero in terms of other person outside, parang I don't feel jealous.
You're jealous within the relationship.
Within the relationship.
Parang yung Okay.
Yeah, Ira.
Yes, Parit.
Ira.
From that jealous thingy, does that make you doubt your decision of accepting another person sa relationship? Or sige, kamwat may tuloy lang natin kasi we did this before. May ganun bang factor?
Parang hindi naman. I don't parang there's no regret naman na we welcome him into the relationship.
I think
kay Mikey.
I think ako kay Mikey.
Kay Mikey. Alam mo, Mikey. Pero John, I think the question here is, the biggest question here that's going on sa mind sa mga tao is, how are you able to address these challenges? Ikaw, of course you can't speak for the other people in your relationship, but ikaw as a person, how are you able to address yung issues na
jealousy?
Ganito, yeah.
Ako, I get really mad. No. Siguro I act out kaagad. I'm very honest. Like, pag kanya I feel something, yun nga, in the most basic sense, I get mad. Pero, I tell them kaagad why I'm mad. So parang it's more of being really open about it. Na, if you're already feeling mad, you don't hide it. And you don't tuck it aside or sweep it under the rug, and then it boils out again. So parang the rule is if you're angry, tell us na you're angry ka agad. Like super mad.
So basically it's like it's still a matter of communication, of open communication for all of you.
Yeah.
May pa ano ba to? May pa focus group discussion na dapat mag-uusap tayong tatlo.
Oo, meron ba
tatayo sa
ganon?
upuan
Oo.
to. Ganon.
Parang nangyari na yun.
May ano ba yun?
Ah.
Ganun ba? May kampihan na nagaganap?
Parang nangyari din yun.
Yes,
Pero
Mary.
usually,
Actually, para lang sa kaalaman ng lahat, may kausap kasi ko nga lang hindi ko naman siya matawag kasi hindi pa naman siya nag-yes sa akin. So, gusto ko lang tanungin kasi sana kung may violent reaction siya. Pero hindi naman siya nag-yes sa akin. We respect the decision of the person. Diba?
Paris,
Pero,
you wanted to share something?
Yes, Paris.
May nakapagtanong na ba nung question ko kay Albert, kay John?
Hindi pa, go.
Hindi pa, go.
Okay. So, when it comes to, maiba naman tayo. So, sa bed, do you do it all together? Or meron setup na, okay.
Shifting.
Taray, parang call center.
Time card.
Shifting schedule.
True.
Sinagot ba yun ni Albert?
Oo.
Yes.
Sinagot na lang.
Yung kami, parang before kaming maging official, parang there was a rule na dapat it's always together.
The three of you. Okay.
So kailangan group.
So now group.
Now parang as it comes, parang no holds barred. If you want.
So, may question lang ako. Pwede mo sagutin?
Pwedeng hindi.
Or pwedeng hindi. Nangyari na ba na, kunwari lang, may isa, tapos hindi kunwari, wala yung isa, may ginagawa na sa work or may pinuntahan, tapos may ganap. Tapos umalis naman yung isa, tapos nadatnan ka nung isa, pero gusto din may ganap. May ganun na ba? Curious lang ako Pwede namang hindi. Oo, pwedeng hindi.
Oo.
Wait lang.
Gusto ko yun pa ng gamit na gamit ako.
Ang lakas ng stamina ng taong yun.
So, wait lang, pero ang tanong ko dito, sino yung malakas yung stamina sa inyo?
Palakpakan natin ang efforts niya.
Yung pinakabata sa amin.
May nagre-react. Actually, yung nagre-react dito ngayon, baka naman pwedeng mag-on lang ng mic. Kasi nagre-react siya dito sa akin Mabilis lang.
This is so interesting naman na yung pinakabata.
Pwede ka ba mag-on ng mic? Hindi ka tatanungin, pero kung mag-on ka ng mic ngayon, gusto lang namin marinig yung boses mo before we transition to the last.
Marinig lang.
No. In 5, 4, 3, 2, mukhang ayaw na talaga
Ayaw talaga.
Hi. Hello.
Ayan.
Ayan na.
Hi everyone.
Simple lang naman yung tanong namin. Hi Aaron. Simple lang naman yung tanong namin. Sa mga sinabi ba ni John, may mga violent reactions ka ba? May kino-contest ka ba at alin yung mga yon?
Sige, pinag-usapan na natin to. Joke lang. Actually, hindi. I agree naman lahat sa sinabi niya.
Anong kadalasan yung pinag-aawayan?
Selos.
Pero sa ML.
Yeah, we fought over ML na din. Pero pinag-uusapan naman namin agad-agad. As in, kami tatlo, may isang mediator lagi. Tapos siya yung ganyan-ganyan. Siya yung parang face-to-face yung setup namin.
May pang-ami lagi.
Meron si Chang Ami.
Alam mo, hulaan ko. Alam mo, feeling ko yung Chang Ami dyan yung pinakamatanda.
Tama.
Feeling ko lang sabi na nga.
Pero alam nyo, kung kailangan nyo pa ng mga taga-payo, na andito kaming 6. Pwede nyo kami.
Pwede kami maging referee.
Kayo, habang nag-uusap kayong 3 dun sa baba, nandun kaming 6 sa taas.
Ganun kami.
Ilan si Aaron.
Supreme Court pala.
Kung gusto lang pipili sa aming 6, ang brains nitong show na to si Ate Janlee. willing talaga yan.
Bilang po brains ha. Marami.
Siya din yung tagiliran ng show na to.
Willing rin ako. Girl, willing rin ako.
Manahimik ka dyan.
Oo.
Alright. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you,
John and Aaron.
Love you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. Going on to the next one, to the last segment for tonight. Ate Janlee, what do you have to say for tonight? Ay, sorry, Paris, yes. Bago si Ate Janlee.
Hindi. Gusto ko lang sabihin na, Albert, wala ba tayo dyan?
Albert, meron ba?
Ano?
Baka gusto din may bumoses mamaya. Diba? Ibigyan namin kayo ng chance mamaya. Pero yan, let's proceed muna with Ate Janlee.
Ate Janlee.
Ayan. So before, as the last question, syempre na-discuss na natin yung setups, challenges. So, we want to understand, kasi dahil tayo to go deep, we want to go deeper and understand the situation. Ano yung common misconceptions at saan nanggagaling yung stigma when it comes to being in non-monogamous relationships? So, gusto kong balikan yung isa nating in-interview kayo na si Albert. Sa tingin mo, Albert, ano yung common misconceptions? Tsaka, bakit may stigma?
Una sa lahat, may stigma dahil nga hindi naman yun yung finifeed na conventional sa atin sa society, di ba? Andun ang The One, andun ang lahat ng pelikula, lahat ng music video, kung ano pa. Di ba palaging may the one that got away, the one you truly love, ganun. Soulmate, di ba? Kumbaga. So, syempre kapag doon ka nang galing, unfamiliar talaga kapag sinabing valid yung more than one ang partner mo. And I guess, along with that, common misconceptions is, ayun nga, tulad ng mga sinabi ko kanina, third party, like kabit, ganun. And then, you were there just to save the relationship. So, ayun. Yun ang parang mga naging negative feedback sa akin siguro na para bang parang kasalanan ko pa na nilapitan nila ako.
So may Bea Alonzo moment ka na parang, bakit galit ka? Bakit parang kasalanan ko? Ganon.
Ayun, and I think like misconceptions din siguro, parang hinihiwalay nila yung reasons kung bakit nagpa-fall out ang mga polyamorous relationships. When in fact, common lang naman. Una sa lahat, it's communication. 'Di ba? Kung we're gonna delve deeper, kung cheating ganun, communication pa rin yun. Kung may gusto siyang iba, communication pa din yun. So hindi naman nalalayo ang polyamory sa monogamy when it comes to having problems. So we're all in the same.
Correct. So how do you handle, kunyari may mga nagsasabi, may mga misconceptions ka na pagiging kabit, na may stigma ka na na-experience. How do you handle these things? And how do you think we should address them?
Well, ako, personally, syempre, kumapit ako dun sa mga na-experience na yun first hand. So, syempre, I try to make sure that what I'm feeling is valid. Hindi ko naman gugustuhin lahat ng to kung ano lang siya, kung concept pa lang siya. Ayoko na sabihin concept ng polyamory. Practice na talaga siya. It's just not that prevalent. Hindi lang siya ganun ka-conventional, but it exists. Lalo na sa Pilipinas, when all is Catholic and gano'n mga ganun nga. Medyo mahirap. Pero yung mga gumagawa nun, I really would like to look up to them kasi sobrang tapang talaga. Lalo na yung mga naglalast pa rin.
Totoo. And thank you for sharing that, Bert. Kasi we're actually in awe because it takes, totoo yung sinabi mo, it takes a lot of strength and maturity for people to really explore and not conform to the norm of society. Di ba yun pa lang, that the mere fact pa lang na I'm gonna go out of the norm.
I mean, di ba the mere fact na the mere fact siguro dito sa Pilipinas na hindi ka straight, di ba? Yun na challenge.
Agree.
Di ba?
True. And kaya believe kami sa iyo at sa mga katulad mo na matapang, di ba? Dahil ang daming sinisirang ang dami niyo sinisirang walls, ang dami niyo sinisirang norms. Kaya salamat dahil for paving the way for the rest of us.
Thank you.
Yes, Paris.
Albert, may tanong sa inyo. Ano daw may papayo nyo sa friend ni Jane at ni Wanda?
Just go. Ano, God bless.
God bless.
Thank you,
God bless.
Albert.
Thank
you,
Albert.
Thank you,
Thank you, Albert.
And syempre from
Sino ba?
Albert. Ayan ha, alam mo na pag naghahanap kayo ng pangatlo. Charing. So, from Albert, punta na tayo back to Gino naman. So, Gino din. Syempre, same question actually. So, for you, Albert has answered it already. But maybe you want to add about the misconception and about the stigma that you're experiencing as someone in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, it was difficult because it's hard. For example, I'm very malambing in person with the people I care for. So I like walking, holding hands. I like making akbay. I like kissing them on the cheek in public. And then when I do it to two people at the same time, people kind of give us stares. But then, yeah, right, they're looking at you, they're like, why are you holding hands with two people, especially two guys spa of all people? You know, it's not even like a girl and a guy, it's two guys spa. But then eventually you just kind of not pay attention to it. We dealt with a lot of stigma also because our third came from a very religious family who had a very strict view of what a relationship should be. He wanted a husband with two kids, two dogs, and a house. He wanted, you know, how was he ever going to tell us his family about us, for example, or for example, something as simple as somebody comments, because I post pictures of us on my Facebook, for example, and then somebody comments, your friend looks just like you guys, and then he'll get mad at us for saying friend, for my friend calling him a friend, and I'll be like, do you want me to tell? I can correct him in public. I'll tell them that no, he's our boyfriend. He's not our friend. He's our boyfriend. I only also because he was here. So it was very difficult at the start, especially because of the stigma of one being gay and two having two boyfriends at the same time also at this and yeah, but to address them, it was just all about talking also, all about really just trying to sitting down and trying to figure things out together. And some of it worked, some of it didn't work, but yeah, it was all about just talking.
Right. But you're so brave for being game to actually comment in public and tell everyone that you're in a polyamorous relationship with him.
Of course, because I was proud of him. I was in love with the guy, so I was proud of him too. So I would want people to know about him.
Sana all. Okay.
Yun na lang ma-comment, sana all.
I think na-mention din ni Albert ito at na-mention din ni Gino na, it's one layer being gay and another layer being gay in a non-monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
So ang daming layers. But at the same time, naisip ko, hindi ba baka kaya mas open ang mga gay or LGBT people to be involved in a polyamorous relationship is because to begin with, they're already being ostracized by societies. What's another unconventional thing to add to it? Do you think
exactly
that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, it's also because a lot of times, for example, people will argue that it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, because you have to have kids, you have to have a proper mother figure and a father figure to raise a child. That's the argument of these. When it comes to gay relationships, there's no gender roles like that. You can both be the father, you can both be the mother, you can be whatever you want. So in other words, it also has boils down to the fact that you don't need just two people to raise a kid. You can have like 3 people or 4 people or 5 people, depending on how many you want to open up your family to, because it's easier for us because there's no one person giving birth and one person who's just the father and one person who's the mother at the same time. But yeah, Janlee, you do have a point also that it's also because we're already ostracized, so why not just be ostracized even more?
Right?
Yeah.
I think it all.
Yes, Miguel.
Basically, it also boils down to us not fitting a mold already. Kasi as gay guys, as LGBT people, we don't fit the mold of society already. So it's already ingrained in our minds na. Okay, sige, fine. Because we don't fit the mold, then let's just make a mold of our own.
Let's just keep on breaking the mold.
Keep on breaking the mold.
Yes.
Right.
And another thing, sabi ni Albert, no, another misconception is that ang mga poly ay greedy and madamot. Isa yan sa mga, actually narinig ko to lagi, sabi ng mga tao na, ang dadamot nila, dala-dalawa na nga yan nila. Kung marami naman kayong love na mayahandog, you shouldn't limit yourself as human beings. Tama naman, di ba? Because if you have
Albert,
the capacity,
simple lang naman yung sagot dyan.
Anda.
Hindi ako madamot. Mas maganda lang talaga ako sa nandihama.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank
you so much, Gino.
I think it's so mind-opening, everything that we discussed tonight na, you know, pasalamat yung mga cis-het sa atin dahil binubuksan natin sila sa possibilities.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Let's start this night. Let's end the night na. It's already 12 o'clock and the opinions and the thoughts of everyone is greatly valid, respected. Sobrang thank you guys for all the sharing.
Maraming salamat.
Yes.
Guys, we love you. Anyway, to start the synthesis off, let's have Janlee. Can we start the ending with you?
Sure. To me, it's such a spiritual conversation. I like what Miguel said before the synthesis na we have so much love to give and this love extends beyond us, you know, and towards other people. And if you have so much love to give that you can fully and truly love more than one person, then by all means, di ba? Who can stop you and who should stop you? And it as long as you keep within the rules and bounds of the relationship that you have with the people you are in a relationship with, then go, diba? For me, it's so spiritual to not be limited by what society tells us. So yeah, thank you for all the mind-opening sharing tonight.
Hi, thanks, Janlee. Miguel.
Basically, there are three things here. In any relationship, regardless of whether this is monogamous or polygamous, the three things that you have to consider is that it's a matter of commitment, communication, and compromise. Ito yung I remember the sister of my ex telling me this. You always have to communicate with each other. That was where we failed. That was where my ex and I failed. That is where my current boyfriend and I are trying to do things right. Now, in any relationship, yan, kahit polygamous ka pa or kahit monogamous ka pa, kung wala ang isa dyan, mahihirapan kayo. Lalo na ang communication. Because communication is always the foundation of any relationship. You have to communicate what you tulad nga sinabi kanina ni John, you know, kung if something's bothering you, kung galit ka sa isang tao, kung galit ka sa kanya, pag-usapan nyo. Kung nagseselos ka, pag-usapan nyo. If you feel uncomfortable, pag-usapan nyo. Kasi if you sweep things under a rug, if you think it's all just going to blow over if you don't talk about it, you're wrong. Because it's always going to pile up. The issues are always going to pile up if you don't address it properly, if you don't talk about it properly. And it's also a matter of compromise because one of you or two of you or three of you guys have to adjust to each other kasi iba-iba kayong personality eh. Iba-iba kayong character eh. Iba-iba kayo ng gusto. Iba-iba kayo ng pag-iisip. Iba-iba kayo ng levels of maturity. So kailangan mag-adjust lagi. And most of the time it's always the older guy. Sometimes it's also the younger guy kasi minsan mas mas nakakatakot, mas mabilis masyado yung older. Kaya. And it's also a matter of commitment because ang tandaan natin, hindi lang natatapos sa kilig ang isang relationship. Pagtapos ng kilig, when the kilig is over, when the honeymoon phase is over, you're always going to have to make a commitment every day to love that person no matter what and to accept that person no matter what his flaws are. Because the moment you stop doing that, the relationship's always going to fail. So always commit, communicate, and compromise with each other. Yun lang.
Thank you, candidate number 7.
Thank you, Pastor JM.
Amen!
Alright, next, si Chal.
Ay, ako agad?
Ikaw na.
Ako nagtataas ng kamay,
Nasa taas kita
Okay. So, ang ganap kasi, like, one of the things na na-realize ko lang tonight, yung sinabi nga ni Miguel, ni Albert, ni Gino, na I think we can agree that we're really breaking barriers now. I mean, being part of the LGBT community is not already conforming sa norm ng society. Okay? And it's such, if you think about it, it's such a beautiful thing to do. For you to be different. Kasi parang we're so afraid to be different. But then at the same time, when we are different from what society says what should be done or how we should be, we're actually living our most authentic lives at that particular moment. Kung saan tayo nagpapasaya. Kasi hindi porket sinabi ng society na ito yung dapat, hindi ito yung magpapasaya sa'yo. 'Di ba? Why should we give a damn sa isang society kung hindi naman siya nagpapasaya sa'yo, pangalawa, hindi naman siya nandun sa relasyon na yon, at pangatlo, hindi naman siya mamumuhay dun sa sitwasyon na yon. We should be able to love freely, choose freely, and just live freely. 'Di ba? 'Yun naman yung ultimate like bottom line nitong usapan na 'to. Lahat ng relasyon valid. Hindi porket sinasabi ng society hindi yan normal, hindi namin yan tanggap, hindi na siya totoo. Kasi ang pagiging bakla, ang mga throuples, at kung ano pang klase ng relasyon at kung ano pa yan, nangyayari yan. And it's something that we should embrace because it's such a beautiful thing. And I thank you.
Thank you, candidate number 3. Right up next, we have candidate number 2, Bill.
Wala na po akong masabi na sabi na nila lahat.
Okay, Paris, ikaw na. Wala na.
Okay, ikaw na. Paris, wala na daw sa. Okay na eh. Let's move on.
Yeah. So yun. So before I start
yes.
Taray.
Yes. Okay.
Hindi nyo kaya, may intro yung ko.
May background music si bakla.
So before I start my sentences, I would like to thank the people who participated, especially Albert, Gino, John, and Aaron for sharing your love stories. So yun nga, yung sinabi earlier, every relationship is a valid relationship. And then at the same time, just to echo what Miguel said earlier, that the key factor in a healthy relationship or a successful relationship is communication. Because without communication, doon na magpa-pile up yung problems. Kasi feeling mo wala lang pala, tapos pala nag-pile up na siya at the end of the day, na hindi na siya na-resolve. That it will turn out to a big problem na hindi mo na ma-realize na hindi mo na kayang i-resolve nyo as partners. So yun yung sentences ko for tonight. And this episode is really insightful because I've learned a lot. And I really hope that our audiences learn from it as well. And be open and will be open sa different types of relationship and don't judge people easily because they're into a polyamorous or whatever relationship they are in, or they are. So yun lang.
Thanks, Bill. Up next, Paris.
Hi, yun. From what I heard earlier, I think younger gay men do value monogamy more than their older counterparts. Naandun pa sa kabataan natin yung pagiging idealistic. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Pero as habang tumatagal yung relasyon, habang tumatanda kayo pareho, you adapt on the situation. Natututunan nyo yung mga bagay na akala nyo dati hindi nyo matatanggap. And that's the colorful part of your relationship. Kasi you do things outside of the box na for the betterment of what you have. Diba? Other people may think na, bakla na kayo tapos ganyan pa. No. Every type of relationship deserves the equal amount of respect. Kasi it's your decision not ours. Kayo ang magdadala niyan. So kung ano man yung piliin yung relasyon, dapat mapanindigan lang natin talaga to. And ayun, so super thank you ako dun sa mga nag-share kasi I've been listening to all of the respondents and I learned a lot. It's the other way around ngayong episode na to kasi most of the time I was just listening. And I'm grateful kasi naging two-way learning experience for us. And thank you guys. Yun lang po.
Natuto tayo from them.
Yes.
And guys, may pahabol lang din. Last na, like super last na. May nabanggit lang dito si Mrs. Tan, yung isa natin attendee na, I agree, but we also need to point out that polyamory also exists in heterosexual relationships, given that sometimes LGBTQ individuals are seen as someone who cannot commit. And yes, gusto ko lang sabihin, hindi lang to exclusive sa LGBTQ.
Yes, I
it's
agree.
just that mas matapang lang talaga tayo sa kanilang di hamak. Bilang kailangan natin i-break, may stigma na tayo. So kailangan lang talaga natin i-enforce na, excuse me, mas matapang kami, di ba? Because we put ourselves out there. Even though it doesn't fit your mold, we put ourselves out there.
Kaya nga, di ba? It's
I
always
think,
a matter of... Sige, go.
I think that there's always a law na nakakasakop doon sa mga hetero setups. Kaya sila yung mas limited. Tayo kasi we're free to do anything. So, di ba, when they're married, pag nag-commit ka na adultery, it's a crime. So, unlike us, we're free to explore anything. So, that's why
that doesn't discount na hindi natin kailangan ng civil union. Just
yes.
Yes. For a different reason naman yun. Pero sila kasi, yun, yung pagiging righteous nila, there's an equivalent, limitation to that pa din. So, yun lang.
Last, Lago.
Sorry. That also boils down to societal norms era kasi.
Yes.
Kasi in pre-colonial times, you didn't have those laws that govern marriages, that govern relationships. You didn't have those laws that prohibit concubinage or polyamorous relationships. This is also just a matter of religion and societal norms and cultural norms, ganyan. So, pero again, at the end of the day, regardless of whether it's a cis-het relationship or whether or an LGBT relationship, really the bottom line here is communication. The bottom line here is commitment. You always have to commit to someone you love the most. So to a person you love.
Yes.
Thank you. Ako naman.
Ikaw na, sorry.
Ikaw na.
Iyan naman natin si Roberto.
Sige.
Diba?
Yeah. Sorry, nilabas ko na yung mic kasi feeling ko mahina. Okay. For me kasi, these relationships are real. They always need to be respected and they are valid. Maybe dahil lang sa society kaya nagkaroon siya ng stigma. Maybe lang dahil sa mga norms kaya lang siya nagiging frowned upon. But then again, yun nga, like what Mrs. Stan said, this is not just within our community. It's everywhere din naman talaga. Pero just like humans, aspects can evolve as well. And so do humans and human relationships. Ang masasabi ko lang, with all the experiences and with all the sharings that's been done, the first thing naman siguro, if ever you are gonna consider yourself to go, if you're gonna consider in going into a different kind of relationship, mapa-open yan or throuple, you just have to make sure that, one, you're informed. Alam mo kung anong pinapasukan mo. You have to be ready emotionally and mentally. And of course, you have to be prepared. And yun nga, a major factor, like the key word for the day is communication talaga. Kausapin mo yung mga ikakakontrata mo or kontrata, or those you're gonna be in a relationship with. Ano ba ang meron? Ano ba ang limits? Ano ba ang kaya? Ano bang mangyayari? Have a past, present, future plan for each other para at least alam mo if it's gonna work, if it's for you, or if it's not for you. Okay? But either way, it's valid and true. Yan. Yes, Janlee.
Sorry, pahabol lang. I really like what Albert said. No, on the external side, I think it's also our responsibility as members. I mean, as members of this community and as people who know people who are in polyamorous relationships or non-monogamous relationships to normalize it, to bring the word out there. So this is a call to to filmmakers, to writers, to create stories about people in polyamorous relationships, to people in a throuple, diba? We have so few of these stories, and
it's true.
We need to normalize them. We need to start talking about them. We need to view them in a na normal lang sila at hindi siya katatawanan. Kasi most commonly as portrayed in media, nakakatawa siya, nakakadiri siya, but it shouldn't be. So baka meron nanonood dito, 'di ba, na working in media, writers, storytellers. So we urge you to create stories, wonderful stories about these types of relationships.
Yes.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for your sharing. We really appreciate your stories, and don't worry, this is a safe space. Hindi naman namin to ibubulgar to the world. And of course, this show is again brought to you by Love Yourself Inc. and Spaces Manila, and we are sponsored by Bliss4, Bliss Premium Condoms, and Bliss, and we are also live on Facebook, YouTube, and Kubu. All right. Thank you guys for having us and for watching.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so
Good night.
much. Thank you, our sharers. May
Thank you to our
after show
sharers.
pa po.
Good night. Enjoy your weekend.
Wait lang, Mars, nakamute ka.
Ako?
Hindi pa tayo nakakapag-announce ata ko
Ay,
sino
oo,
winner ng
yung winner
Kinky
pa
pala. Oh my God. Sorry.
Ang tagal kong nakamute. Oh my God.
Ay, sorry. Yung winner natin ay for the Kinky Time winner. Ang panalo ay si Neil.
Neil, the feasting guy.
Jumbo hotdog. Hindi na nga usin jumbo hotdog dahil kay Niels. Jumbo braso.
Jumbo braso.
For you to claim your prize, kindly send us a message kahit saan dun sa social media accounts namin, either in Facebook or Twitter, with your full name, address, and ano pa ba? That's it lang, no?
Contact info.
Yes, that's good na for the details. And yun, guys, thank you for staying up late with us. And hopefully we see you again next Friday for another fun-filled conversation. And wala na naman po ulit sa Ate Janlee next week.
So sana tangkilikin nyo pa rin kami next week kahit wala si
Yes.
Gaga.
Medyo baka seryoso yung topic natin next week.
Ay, meron pa daw pong pahabol. Nasaan daw po yung yung challenge ni Roberto. Okay, ready na ba kayo?
Kaya po tayo mag-stay for the after show.
Yes.
After show po bang yayari yung yung tuwad challenge ni Roberto?
Press 1 po kung ready na po kayo.
Press 1 po kung ready na kayo.
Okay. Yay.
Bye. Facebook.
Bye, guys. Good night and enjoy your weekend.